So these MAGA Republican leaders are not handling the release of the Epstein files very well. They want to talk about everything else. And it was just one of the weirdest press conferences I've ever seen this morning. Like, you had MAGA Republican Congresswoman Lisa McClain not answering questions about Epstein, refusing to, and not talking about it. But she did say this. Here, play this clip.
Strongest president ever. I have complete trust in President Trump that he will continue to enforce the rule of law, including each and every one of our immigration laws.
Oh, yes, that's what the 38,000 references to Donald Trump. That was my first reaction. Strongest ever. That's how then you had MAGA Mike Johnson at this press conference in the House of Representatives. And he said, look, you got to keep what's going on with ICE and Border Patrol. In fact, maybe even increase it. You can't loosen up, he says. You can't lighten it. Here, play this clip.
We have to make sure we maintain the important parameters here. We can't go down the road of amnesty. You can't in any way lighten the enforcement requirement of federal immigration law. That's what the American people demand and deserve. We want dangerous illegal criminals to be sent out of the country, and they've been very successful at that.
Dangerous illegal criminals sent out of the country. You may want to start looking through those files there, MAGA Mike, because it seems like a whole lot going on over there. And then, by the way, the Americans want the Americans, okay, of course, go after dangerous criminals, but that's not what the MAGAs are doing. The MAGAs are like, we're going after the pedos. Really, you're actually not. You're actually covering it up for them, and you're going after American citizens. So the next question is like, you're kidnapping people, you're drawing guns on American citizens, you're engaged. We see what you're doing, MAGA Mike. So you like what Kristi Noem's doing? Here, play this clip.
Great faith and trust in the leadership of Homeland Security, and Tom Homan in particular, who's now in charge in Minnesota. He brings 40 years experience to this. He's very measured. We all believe that immigration policy ought to be balanced and strategic and smart, and it obviously needs to comply with the law. And I'm going to leave it to the experts to determine what that is. I think in the negotiation, I think we've got to remove the politics. We've got to look at what the Constitution says, what federal immigration law says.
So what does the Constitution say? There's something called protections against unreasonable searches and seizures. Probably shouldn't have masked agents kidnapping people and drawing guns on people. But let's see what these negotiations are going to look like. You've got MAGA Republican Congressmember Mark Harris. So we all agree there should be warrants, judicial warrants, right? Fourth Amendment, and, we should probably remove the masks. Can we just agree to that, MAGAs? Here, play this clip.
Some of these things are non-starters. Having judicial warrants, to me, that's a non-starter. Being able to make them take off their mask, putting them at risk, that's a non-starter.
I want to bring in George Conway. George, I don't even know where to start.
The Fourth Amendment is a non-starter. Did you hear that?
I heard it. George is running for Congress in New York's 12th Congressional District. George, why don't we just start with your reaction to the clips that I just showed you?
Yeah, the Fourth Amendment is a non-starter. The framers felt exactly the same way. Yeah, that's the rule of law. Oh my God, what drugs are these people on? Can we drug test them all? Because I just can't figure out how they can say some of the shit that they just said. I mean, what planet are they on? I don't know.
Right. And it is day after day, minute after minute. They start off with Congresswoman McClain. By the way, you're running for Congress. So if you win, and you've got the momentum right now, these people are going to be your colleagues, people like McClain after the release of the Epstein files.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun.
Talk to us about that, though, because you're running to say, I'm going to push back against these people.
Yeah, I'm going to push you guys against these people. And I mean, they're not capable of shame, really. But I think that part of the object is to mock them and shame them, to make them look as ridiculous as, I know it's hard. They look ridiculous as it is. But I think we have to even make them look more ridiculous. And I think that's part of what we have to do here is we have to take them on lie by lie, toe to toe, face to face. And we need to restore Congress to what it is supposed to be, which is an actual co-equal branch of government. I mean, this guy Johnson has turned Congress into basically an office of the White House. These people cannot say anything other than Donald Trump is the best president ever and everything's wonderful and we obey all the laws and we're for doing everything the right way, even though basically everything they say is just a lie. And so, I mean, I think we can't. These people have to be. You just have to go after them hammer and tong, with the way you do. But we have to do it absolutely in Congress, face to face with them.
What do you make of this dynamic right now? Of you have Pam Bondi, who's like not talking about the Epstein files at all.
The what?
The what? What do they call it?
The what? The what?
And then you have Todd Bland.
It's not a crime. It's not a crime to party with Epstein. That's the official opinion of the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, right? Is that what you were about to lead into? He said we
do too many of these where you know where the questions are going.
I know where they're going. I know.
So where I was going to ask you is, I want to get your reaction to the fact that now the official position of the Department of Justice wants this august body where you and I would recommend to law students, this is the place that you should work out of law school. This is where the best lawyers are able to, learn and practice. The official position of the DOJ, if you partied with Epstein, you're cool.
It's okay. It's totally okay. I mean, let me ask a question. Why did he say that? Why did he feel the urge to say that? There must be something else in there they know about. It's about to come out. I don't know. I'm wondering that.
What's your reaction, though, to the way they've kind of handled this? I mean, they act like 3 million documents is a lot. And you and I both know that normally in lots of these SDNY or you name it, these cases involving 3 million documents is a 5 associate or a 5 AUSA job. They do it every day in big
right.
documents.
And they leverage it. They leverage it by because you have essentially what we call now artificial intelligence to review documents. You can really go through piles of documents with very few people. But they took their sweet time and they didn't even redact the documents correctly. I mean, there are bad pictures in there. There are names in there that should not be in there of the victims. This was just a sloppy and ridiculous job that they did, and they've been incompetent from the get-go because all they have managed to do in the last year, from Pam Bondi talking about this in January or February of 2025 about how we're going to release all the documents, is it's like they're cutting themselves. They're stabbing themselves. They're bleeding out on themselves because they keep inflicting these wounds on themselves by talking about the documents and then saying, "Oh no, we're not going to give them to you," and then dribbling them out. I mean, they can't do anything right, and it's amazing to me how not that this was ever not going to be bad for Trump. These documents coming out. I mean, the amount of shit in there about him is just staggering. But how stupid were they to go down this path and basically prolong it as long as possible? It's almost like they're working for you.
One of the things they're not, but one
they couldn't do a worse job, right? I mean, it's
like they are yes. So one of the things you said though is you get elected day one of the things you want to focus on is impeachment. There are so many things to impeach on every single day.
No, it's incredible.
So how do you launch and lead impeachment against Donald Trump on day one? What does that look like?
What it looks like is you start investigating immediately and you start highlighting all of the things that he's done, but prioritize them. I mean, and that's actually the hard part about it, is that there are so many things to choose from. I mean, we just learned this week about this. I mean, if it's not a quid pro quo, it certainly smells like it, and it's certainly a foreign emolument. But this whole bit about how they sold crypto to the sheikhs in Abu Dhabi or whatever. And then a few weeks later, after they get into the White House, they start giving them these AI chips that were hard to get. It's just endless corruption and endless law breaking. The Kennedy Center, they basically destroyed the Kennedy Center, renaming it illegally, taking it over. There's no limit to the things that they're doing that are illegal, let alone, and it's not even getting to the people who they're physically harming, like these airstrikes in the Caribbean and Alex Preddy and Renee Good. I mean, there's just so much here, and it all stems from the fact that we have a government that doesn't give a shit about anything other than its fearless leader, and a fearless leader who doesn't give a shit about anything other than himself. And, whereas he has sworn to uphold the Constitution and laws of the United States, he's a fiduciary to Americans. I'm going to use that legal term because I think it's a really great term. It's like, like if you're holding money in trust for, your children, you hold that, you don't spend it on yourself. And what he does is he basically takes the entire government and he runs it for his own benefit, whether it be, I'm going to sue the IRS and have it settled with me to pay me money, or I'm going to rename stuff after myself, or I'm going to build a large ark to support myself, or I'm going to suspend the 2026 elections. I mean, he's dropping hints now about that, or take over the 2026 elections from the states to keep myself in office, or though we shouldn't count the electoral votes, or you can't. It doesn't stop. The list goes on and on of basically illegalities or irregularities that he commits because he is the only one that matters to him and not the public. And that's what a lot of people are out there saying, well, I know Trump. I'm so tired of hearing about Trump. What are you going to do for me, Mr. You running for Congress, or Mr. whoever, or the Democrats, or whoever they're talking to? The problem is he's taking everything for himself and leaving nothing for the government to help people, because he doesn't believe that the government is supposed to help people. I'll give you a perfect example. I look out my window out in West Chelsea in New York City, in Manhattan, and I see this project called the Gateway Project. The Gateway Project is this project where Amtrak and the New Jersey Transit and the states and the federal government are building a new tunnel for the Northeast Corridor, because the existing tunnel, the North Tunnel, where the Amtrak trains and the New Jersey Transit trains all go through, is decrepit and overloaded. So we need this new tunnel. We needed this new tunnel 30, 40, or 50 years ago. And Trump has cut off the funding, and they may shut down construction of this tunnel, which is 1,000 jobs directly to this week. And then, there are thousands of other jobs that depend on those thousands of jobs. And then there's the entire, it's the entire Northeast Corridor that's affected by this choke point in the connection. It affects everybody, including people who are driving. And Trump wants to cut that off. And why? Not because we don't have the money. The money's been appropriated. Congress appropriated the money. It's because he wants to punish people who didn't vote for him. He wants to punish Democratic politicians for not supporting his immigration policy. What that has to do with the Northeast Corridor and the Excella and the Northeast regional trains and New Jersey Transit, God only knows. But in his head, he makes these connections because it's all a power play. So everything that when we talk about corruption, we talk about the rule of law, it all relates to how people live, and it's all connected. And that's why we have to have a full-on fight for democracy that involves removing him from the presidency, because I don't think we can survive 3 more years of this. Look at the damage that he's done in 1 year to our foreign relations, to the safety of people on the streets of Minneapolis or Portland or Maine. Look at all of the crazy things that he's done. And we're not going to last 3 more years. We're not even going to last. We might not last a year if we don't get rid of him and get rid of him soon. And that has to be priority job one. And what we have to do we have to make clear to the American people that if you want your lives to be better, Donald Trump has to go because he's fucking you over, including all of you people out there. I'm not watching this. They're not watching this program, I'm sure, but all the people out there who voted for him, he's fucking them over even worse. So that was a long rant. Sorry about that.
No, but think about it over here. First Amendment absolutist, except if you're protesting. Second Amendment absolutist, unless you're Alex Preddy, or unless you have a concealed carry permit, or unless you're registered to have. I've never heard people attack and hate the Second Amendment more than what I've heard from Trumpers over the past 2. Democrats have never said anything like this stuff. When the Democrats' position is, hey, don't bring those military grade weapons around schools. Do enhanced background checks around people who have mental health issues. And then you hear from MAGA, you're treading on me. Don't tread on me. And then it's like concealed permit. No way. You're registered to, you heard Jeanine Pirro the other night on Fox. She was like, if you dare have a gun around me, you're going to prison. Could you imagine if this was in a Democratic administration? And they don't stand for anything is my point before.
No, they're absolutely right. And they're completely hypocritical. And this is, this goes also to the big theme that of what we lawyers are talking about in this whole era about the rule of law, and people kind of, their eyes may glaze over when we talk about the rule of law, but the rule of law is about people being treated equally, similar situations, similar conduct being treated the same. And fundamentally, Trump and Trumpism is all very, perversely and pathologically narcissistic. The rules apply to you, and they apply however we want them to apply to you. They don't apply to us. And that's that's exactly what you're talking about there with the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, with almost everything, with virtually everything. That's how they look at it. It's like, we can do whatever the fuck we want if you're on Team Trump, but you out there who oppose us, you can't do anything. You don't have the right to free speech. You can't carry a concealed weapon, even if the law allows you to in Minnesota. All of that things. It's all about, a power play where one group of people who think that they are allied with this megalomaniacal, self-interested, evil person, think that they can trod over the rights of everyone else because they're special, because they're with the special man.
George is running for New York's 12th Congressional District, and George is not afraid to say, one of the main reasons I'm running, if not the main reason, elect me. I'm going to try to make sure this guy gets impeached. That's one of my main platforms.
Right. And removed, not just impeached, remove this fascist fuck.
I'm going to, so say that again. So if anybody's watching out there, make your pitch to the people in the 12th Congressional District.
Yeah, if you want your lives to be better and you want this country to preserve for your kids, we need to impeach or remove this fascist fucker now, as soon as possible. And, that language is tough, but that's where we are. We can't mince words at this point. We are at a crossroads. And if we want to have a country that survives, we need to end this tragedy that's called Trumpism as soon as humanly possible.
Anywhere people can find more about the campaign before we go?
Yes. And my advisors have trained me to say this in my sleep. www.georgeconwayforcongress.com.
Thanks, George. As always, everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thanks for watching.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.